All right, we're good to go.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Um, have you been keeping up with what's been going on in New York?
Um, like in what aspect?
That United Healthcare CEO or whatever?
I have not actually. Sorry.
Really? Okay, I figured that'd be something you'd be into.
I usually am. I'll be honest, dude. This past month has been just kind of go go go.
Yeah.
Getting ready for DC tomorrow, so
Mm.
um, I have not had time to like pull up my New York thing. But please give me the debrief.
Well, it's just, they had this guy who this kid or whatever was pissed off or whatever, and essentially they're saying killed the United CEO, killed him in like
Oh,
downtown New
oh,
York.
I did see this. No, I did see this.
Okay,
Yep.
so he killed him in like downtown New York. So then he, got on a
He was young, wasn't he?
yeah, and he got on a bike and he went to Central Park. He like changed clothes or whatever and left some stuff there. And then he went to the bus station, got on a bus, was out over in Pennsylvania, and then he got arrested. And then now they're like trying, and they charged him, and now they're trying to get him back to DC, or not to DC, to New York City to, actually try him and arrest him and book him and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. That's
Okay.
crazy.
So have I was watching this video and some people were going over it, and they were talking about just like how like crazy this guy was, and like kind of like he was really kind of out there. Like apparently he which I thought was interesting. I didn't know what this guy looked like, and then he like I saw a picture of him with his shirt off, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, yeah,
He's
like
like
what are
ripped.
you mad about? And then
Yeah, like
uh
save some for the rest of us, dude. Like
yeah, I know, dude. And he was like sick. He had like six abs. He went to fucking Penn, and this guy had like a master's in computer science and a bachelor's in computer science. So just I know people who are in that field, and dude, they're making like $200,000 or more. And so you got this guy who's doing that. Apparently, he's super smart, and he's obviously athletic and all this other kind of stuff. People really liked him. Blah 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 blah. And so he had all this shit going for him, and apparently that's what they're trying to find out is what made him go this way. But apparently he got pissed off and wanted to kill the United CEO, kill him and assassinate him basically. And some of the documents they were saying is like it was like he was just kind of all Unabombery and like anti-government, anti-establishment, like really anarcho kind of people. Um, and so I didn't know if you had heard anything about that kind of stuff, or figure this is like something you'd be into.
no. So I saw. So like I'm like on like the front end of hearing about it. It's been kind of all over my news feed, and I saw a little bit. I think it's just kind of nuts. Like right now, like I still haven't really put my finger on. If I haven't like I said, opinion. It's just like you said, like what are you mad about, bro? Like
Yeah,
you
I know. What are you pissed off about?
I saw the picture of the guy and I'm like, bro, like you are clearly not unhappy in the world.
Oh
Like
no.
like you are the most not unhappy person ever. So I don't know how I totally feel about it yet.
Hmm.
But damn dude, I'm glad you brought that up. Holy shit, I forgot about that.
So, dude, I mean, honestly, like, and I think I can't remember if I told you about this, but I was like, if that guy wanted to kill Donald Trump, Donald Trump would have died. Like he had thought out a good bit of it. He had like fake IDs. He had a thing to block like people from being able to track his phone. He used a suppressor, and then he used a ghost gun, and then he what is it? He used subsonic bullets. So like he tried to be like super quiet and
They
super like
hired
on
the
top
wrong
of this
man
thing.
for Trump.
Do what?
They hired the wrong man for Trump.
Oh yeah, dude. They got this redneck out here who looks like, he's from the thing or whatever it is from uh the Goonies. And they got this like dude shooting at
Sloth,
Trump, and then you got this
sloth.
guy over here who actually knows what the fuck he's doing.
That's hilarious, dude.
Dude, it's wild. And that's the thing is that's I think I know was talking to Austin about this.
Hey,
Or no, I
what
was
was
talking
that
to one of my other
Austin
buddies
about?
about this, and I was like, if
Hey, what's up with Austin tonight?
oh, he's remember he's like helping out his like wife's girlfriend or wife's sister or something for going to work and whatever it was. He sent it to us in the that group text the other day. Uh,
Hey,
she's
one second.
sick.
I'm switching this over to computer. Um,
Okay.
if I start on the phone, it's easier for me to share to you because it's cloud versus. So give
Okay,
me one
whatever you
second.
want to do.
Perfect. All right.
But uh but yeah, so he's doing that and has to cook dinner and do all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's
No,
he's
it's
gonna
good.
be busy.
So look at that. Go Vols real quick before we.
Oh
Get,
well, yeah. Well, dude, we got fucked. We got fucked in the ass
no,
on that.
my tickets just hit my account this morning. Um,
Dude,
so
I'm jealous. We did I tell you what happened to us? So we submitted the request through the system
yeah,
and they said it was supposed to close tomorrow. Like they're supposed to be like, "Hey, you got tickets or you didn't." They sent us an email and they're like basically like, based off the number of tickets, we can confidently say we're not going to accommodate anyone from this donor rank or higher.
yeah.
Um and they were like, "Just so you know, that's you. So don't expect to get tickets." And I was like, "Oh shit." So we're not going to go. Kind of pissed me off. But I thought we had a chance.
We So I was gonna do the same thing. I just got my email today. Like I said, I got my email from the university today that also said the same thing. It was like, we can
Yeah.
confidently say, but I kind of saw it coming. So I found tickets as close as I could to Tennessee section, but I think I stole, dude. So on my phone, on like the Ticketmaster thing, it literally says like season ticket holder. Like I think I got an Ohio State season ticket holders like
Did you
ticket.
really?
I think they sold it to me.
That's crazy, dude. I honestly I feel like Tennessee fans wouldn't do that.
There's no way. I think they want rid of Ryan Day though, so I'm pretty sure Ohio State's purposely.
You think they want to get rid of him?
I think they want to get rid of Ryan Day.
Oh, dude, that's a hot take. I don't think so, dude. I think they'll keep him, and here's the reason why.
You're and like here's me. I feel like 11-1 up there is different because if you've lost four straight to Michigan, no national titles under Day yet.
Really?
Uh,
I thought he no, I think he's got one.
no, he has none.
Oh, really? Let me check
He's
that.
never won a national title.
Dude,
Not
if
to
that's
change
true,
our
I might look at this a little differently.
not to change our subject to football, but no, Ryan Day has never won a national title. Urban Meyer won the last one for them in like 2015, 2014.
Oh wow, you're right.
I'm telling you, dude, like they want rid of him.
So, but he's got him to the playoffs though, right?
Yes, I think he even played for a national title.
You think so?
He played for a national title in 21 and he got beat, I think. No, he didn't. He made it to the semifinal and he got beat by Clemson. That's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah. Anyway, but back to our discussion here. That's my fault.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, we can sit here all day with that, but I am excited. A little nervous. Ohio State we got a nightmare draw, man. I mean, you're talking Ohio State, and then if you do win that game, you're looking at Oregon out west.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's the worst part is, and I've got friends and family who are Penn State fans, and dude, they got one of the luckiest fucking draws I've ever seen.
Dude,
They play
Indiana,
they play SMU and or no, they play
they play Indiana.
Indiana, and then if you
And
win
then they
that, then you
no,
get to go play SMU, and then if you win that, then you got to play someone tough at Georgia. And I'm like, okay, so you're all the way up to the fucking semifinals.
dude, that the 10 seed draw was so cake. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
you look at our bracket, like the bottom half of the bracket, it's Georgia, and then like the worst teams, and then up top is like the meat grinder.
Well, and that's the thing. I was looking at on CFP 2024 bracket. Um, I thought the Texas. Yeah, here let me pull it up.
Hey, isn't it? It's Bell's birthday today, isn't it?
Yeah, Um, here, give me this. Give me the screen share. Yeah, it's her birthday. I texted her today. Okay,
Nice.
so let me share this.
I think I saw it like on Instagram and I almost slid up and was like, happy birthday, but I was like, no, I'm okay.
Hey, she's single and ready to mingle, dude.
You know.
Yeah, that wouldn't look too good.
No, we're
Oh
gonna
no, 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 dude. So they're playing SMU and then they're playing Boise State. That's who they're playing. That's who Penn State would play. But you go and you look at Notre Dame's kind of got a tough one. Um, I thought Texas and Clemson could honestly be a good game. Um, I don't think Clemson's
so
like gonna stay in it, but I
let,
think that's
let's
like a good
let's
first.
talk about the meat grinder of a bracket on the
Oh
top
yeah,
half. The
look at this shit.
bottom, what?
Just look at this shit right here.
You look down at the bottom half of the bracket. Georgia and Boise State. You get Penn State, SMU, Notre Dame, and Indiana. Like, are you kidding me?
Honestly, dude, Georgia's about the only team on here, and that's with Carson back. Georgia is probably the only team on this bottom side of the bracket that I'd be worried about.
No, dude.
I'm not worried about Boise State. They
I
have
would
not played anybody.
I wouldn't be worried
And
about Penn State, SMU. Notre Dame is one of like Notre Dame is the
Notre
only.
Dame, but I'm not sold on Notre Dame, dude. I don't think
I'm
Notre
not
Dame
either.
is
I'm not either.
great.
But
I
like
think they're good, but
if I had to
they're like
pick
2 rounds.
if I had to pick two teams on that side of the bracket that I would be like, it's Georgia Notre Dame. Now on the top half of the bracket, Clemson doesn't really scare me. Texas, they just didn't play much. I
They
mean,
don't play very good.
no. Ohio, honestly, I think Tennessee might beat Ohio State. Really, um, I think we can. Oh
I
no.
think I think Ohio State does better on offense, and I think that's why we'll end up losing.
Oh,
I
you think
think
we lose? Okay.
oh yeah. I don't think we'll win this one. Um
I think Oregon is gonna be our loss. That's my pick.
oh well yeah. I think that with Tennessee, Ohio State. I think Texas versus Clemson, like Texas is just their offense is just can't move. They've got issues on that. I think their defense played really well against Georgia. Um, so I kind of give them like I think they'll definitely beat Clemson. Penn State, I think I have them over Notre Dame. It's like someone I'd be worried about. Um, and I think Penn State could beat SMU. I think they can beat Boise. I think Notre Dame should be able to beat Indiana, and it could be a decent game with Georgia, especially now that they got their backup quarterback.
Dude,
Um, but dude, you're basically talking about easy way to what is this, the semifinals or quarterfinals?
I mean, yeah, dude, that game with dude, we just had the nightmare draw. I mean,
Yeah.
to
Well, hey,
draw.
don't lose. You wanted something? Here's the lesson: don't lose to Arkansas.
Well, even if you beat Arkansas, okay, yeah, if you beat Arkansas, you have a home game. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was thinking about is I was like, I will take Tennessee with Ohio State playing in Neyland, but I won't take Tennessee playing Ohio State at Ohio State. Like I think it's kind of close, and I think we're just not. We need the home field advantage.
I don't know. I think it's a close game, regardless.
Oh well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, who do
Like
I think is favored in that?
it'll be a one score game. Ohio State's favored by 6.5. I genuinely think I think it's also time for Ohio State to not be deep in the playoffs. So I'm going with Tennessee, man. I know it's biased, but I'm taking Tennessee. I think we go out to the Rose Bowl this year. I think we lose in the Rose Bowl. I think that game will be very lackluster, but um, now you could be right. I mean, first year in the playoffs, probably it's like you're just too excited to make it. Um, and Ohio State could very well beat us, and it's like well, okay, cool. But it's
So,
I'm excited.
so the team that I had to win was Texas. And this was before they had their 2 losses.
Dude, man,
I had them winning the national championship, and that's gonna be tough now.
I had Oregon.
Really?
I don't think they do win it. I genuinely think we might be seeing a Georgia. Uh, I think we might be seeing Georgia get this one again. Um, just because I just don't see anybody else. I think Oregon will give them their best shot, but it's going to be between Georgia and Oregon.
I think Georgia's has gotten better. I think when when Carson Beck can play, I think they've gotten better. They're
Yeah,
definitely not as clean or disciplined. They're like in Alabama this year. It's like they're not as clean and disciplined as they've been the past 4 years.
yeah, no, for
This is definitely a down year. I mean, well, we all know they're not disciplined. I mean, go look at their fucking driving records. I mean, those things are everybody's got tickets. So I just feel like they're a little sloppier, and I feel like they don't have the depth. And I think that's why, like with Georgia, like if you kind of start cracking them like they did with Carson Beck, if you kind of start cracking some of that stuff, I could see them kind of losing.
maybe
Um,
very good point.
so what do you think about the guys leaving have like already declaring for the transfer portal from Tennessee?
From Tennessee. Um, I'll be honest, dude. I've seen this the past 2 years. Heupel actually, in my opinion, the one thing that he does really well is coaching. Is I think he's embraced the transfer portal
Hmm.
and recruiting in a way that we kind of get as much as we lose. So
Yeah.
like, I'm not like the transfer portal never really scares me, especially like when it's like these third string guys. Like I'm like, it'd be one thing if it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that, and I will say with Heupel, I think when he goes to the portal to get somebody, I think he does pretty well. Like I was so worried about our fucking defensive backs coming into this year. I was like, who the hell do we have? And it's like some guy from Oregon State, and
Yeah.
then some guy from Louisiana Tech, and I'm like, okay, like like we're not gonna do very good. And we've always the past, dude, since I've been a Tennessee fan, we've always had garbage defensive
Um,
backs.
we've had
Um,
garbage back since 2011.
oh yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. And
yeah,
and it's just like I think I think they're going in. They're going to let some guys go. Like you said, they're the third stringers, whatever it is.
yeah.
You're going to have a few good guys kind of leaving, but I think for the most part, a lot of guys are going to stay. Um,
You made the playoff, dude. Like
well, dude, Texas had like five guys go into the transfer portal soon after
I
this.
saw that. Now the thing
Um,
is, like, if you declare, you can't play, can you? Like, you don't.
I
You
think you
don't.
can still play.
That's crazy. Couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine
So,
trying to play and do that.
so I think, and one thing I think with Heupel is that I think he just doesn't have. I think he knows he doesn't have the time to really get these kids developed. Like I think he's like, hey, there are certain spots where these guys are not the guys we have on staff here are not going to be ready. And I
Right.
think defensive back was one where he's like I don't think we're going to have the defensive backs we need. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the best guys I can and just kind of really kind of build the bottom up, And
I
I think
agree.
he does. I think he does a good job. And I will say though, like there's a few guys who I kind of thought we should have gotten in the portal, but we didn't get. I always think about Walter Nolan, the guy from Powell, who's a defensive tackle.
Yeah,
He was like number one in the country. He went to A&M, which I always thought was so stupid, but I was like, he's probably getting paid a shit ton of money. And then now he's over at Ole Miss, and he's supposedly really good. He might have gotten awards or something like that this year. And I was like, you should have pulled him. And we had several linebackers. I think we had one linebacker and one defensive end who went to Ole Miss, and we should have kept them too. And I don't think we really did a good job at that.
dude, man, dude, and Scott Frost coming back to UCF,
You know?
coming back.
And wait, is that the 80?
Hmm?
Scott Frost?
So he coached at UCF.
Right.
They actually he was coaching when they went undefeated, and the NCAA actually recognizes them as a national champion because of that.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and so um, anyway, so Scott Frost goes to Nebraska, doesn't have a good outing. He's been out of a job for like a year or two now, and they just brought him back to UCF to coach.
Hmm. Let me see what stats this guy's got. Well, so um, do you think that who do you think is the sleeper of the people kind of you know, being in the bracket and whatnot?
Like for the teams,
Yeah.
my sleeper team's Arizona State.
Really?
I think Scatterboo and I think Arizona State's the most scrappy team next to
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee. Like not again, not I know I'm Tennessee, so it's easy to be biased, but like I think Tennessee's scrappy. I think no matter how good or bad we play, it's going to be a close game. Like it's just going to be close. It's going to be gritty. Um, Tennessee's going to hurt people. Like even if we lose to Ohio State, you know we're gonna hurt some people there. So
Yeah. I haven't followed Arizona State enough to know if they're going to be any good.
so since we're kind of on the football topic here, and I guess in a way I did want to go into this. I guess is what's your like whole thoughts and your if you could do it, how would you do it for NIL? Like what is your
Oh, dude, I've got a fucking thesis on this shit.
I don't know, but see, it's a good topic. We can
So,
really
okay, let me pull up my screen. So,
did you
uh
get a thesis on this?
yeah, dude, I've got it in my notes of like how I'll do it. I'll pull it up here in a sec.
No, you
Um
wrote it.
FBS football teams. And so this is I'm pulling this up because um
He said, all eyes on me. I'm reading this in this book. I'm getting a picture of this Lombardi before his first game. He said, gentlemen, we will be successful this year. You can focus on three things and three things only. Your family.
so okay. So can you see my screen? Oh, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So here's what I would do. So this is the FBS programs. So this is a map of all the FBS programs. I would divide it into five. I still think you need to have five Power Five conferences to kind of keep all the numbers the same, everything like that.
Okay.
I would do a West Coast, a Big 12, Southeast, Big 10, and then I'd do the ACC. So first off, I think if you are going to talk about doing conference realignment, and I think one thing that even Nick Saban said this past week, you have to look at playing more games because the way that it works now, like I mean, look at Texas. They didn't play anybody. They just happened to get literally all the easiest teams in the SEC. So the only tough team they played was
Georgia.
Georgia and A&M. And so it's like, okay, well, that's all you had to play, and so it's not an issue. They avoided. Oh, and they played Florida. That's a decent team, but you missed all kind of the big hitters in the conference. So I think you got to increase more games. So I would have, I think I had, you'd play, I think 10 conference games a year. Um, or you play So you do three in-conference rival games a year. So you would specify which ones they are. For Tennessee, that probably be Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. You could rotate Georgia and Kentucky. So you're going to play those teams every year. Then you get one out-of-conference rival game. So that's I'm thinking like with Tennessee, that's maybe Tennessee and Oklahoma because I think they need to be split off. But so you could do Tennessee and maybe even Kentucky. Because I'm
Are
thinking
you
maybe
saying
you
like
could
a
even
locked?
do what?
Are you saying like a locked rival, or what are you saying?
Yeah, so like you get to pick. So like Tennessee used to have a rivalry with Georgia Tech, right? So what you can now do is I'm saying every team gets at least one out of conference rival that they get to play. Um, and you can do a bunch of different teams, all this other
Like
kind of stuff.
but like you play them every year, though, right? Like
You can
you're
play them every year. Or if you've got two or three of them, you can rotate them.
okay.
And so then you get one out of conference game that you have to play against one of the other Power Five conferences, and then you're gonna have you have to have two what I'm going to call lower division. So the reason why I said I wrote a thesis on it is because I think you need to go in and do what you did in college football or what you did in uh, soccer. So you know how in the English League and everything like that, you have
Oh, so
relegation.
yep.
So the way that I think you should do it is you should merge your FBS teams and your FCS teams.
Oh, you're saying like you fall off and then you can.
Yes. So you've got roughly 40 teams in a conference. So 40 times 5 is 200 schools. So you should be able to kind of get everybody. So it might be like 44, but same idea. And then you would split it in half, and you'd say the top 20 teams are in this top bracket, top 20 team or bottom 20 teams are in this other bracket. And you basically have it right now as FBS, FCS. You let them play. Bottom two teams of the top bracket, top two teams of the bottom bracket, they are going to do a relegation. And so you just kind of play and to see if you move up or you stay down. I think you should have caps on the NIL money that every team can spend. And I think what you should do is the top bracket teams have to pay the bottom bracket teams X amount of money to make up the funding differences.
Yeah.
But I think you'll probably end up making the regions much smaller. So, for example, if I were to do a Big 12 team, I basically say all the Texas teams, maybe most of these Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, um, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, all those teams, you're now in the Big 12. And I think you do need to try to make it as regional as possible. Um, and I think if you do that and you kind of, I think you got to cut some of this red shirting bullshit out. Um, and I think if you kind of do a lot of this stuff, I think
Like,
like
what do you mean cutting it out? I don't know
so
how you.
like for example, like you should not. I know they're gonna say COVID year, all this other kind of bullshit, but I don't think you should be able to play college football for more than 5 years. I think
I
you start getting into the 6, 7, 8 years, dude. It gets kind of crazy.
so I agree. Now we've benefited from it, and I've also seen other teams benefit from it. But like I have thought the same thing. I do not think that you should be. I don't think any 24, 25-year-old should be playing college football,
Yeah,
bar none. You come into the league at 18, 19, you should leave accordingly at 22, 23.
yeah.
The issue there is just um, is sitting. It sits there with these red shirts, like you said. Most of the time, the red shirt thing was like you could red shirt one time, like you said, and then it was like you could go five. The COVID year, dude, it screwed everything because
Yeah.
essentially
Now you get a COVID year, you get a redshirt year, you get an
a
academic
medical
year,
year.
you get a graduate year, you get all this bullshit.
Yeah, there's too many. There's too many variables to it. Like,
I think
and
also that's
I
I was
don't
gonna
agree
say, oh,
with
good.
I don't agree with some red shirts either. Like, I'll be honest. Like last year, no offense, but like I genuinely think Nico is better than Joe Milton. You're paying
Well,
the
yeah.
kid.
Well, but what I hate about it is that they sit out for 3 or 4 games, or they get to play in 3 or 4 games. Like as long as like if you redshirt, you can still play games. Like Nico's still playing in games. You
Yeah,
know
he
what I
played.
mean?
Yeah.
And so it's for me, it kind of pisses me off because it's like, are you redshirting or are you not? Like if you need a year to build into it, that's called your freshman year. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. So where's your experience going to come from? Like we redshirted him so that we could make this his freshman year that he gained experience. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
So I mean, I'm that's just kind of what I think about it. And I think that we can do a lot better in how we do football, and I think also we need to make it competitive. I mean, like Jesus Christ, what the fuck is happening in Mississippi State that makes them believe that they should actually stay in the SEC? It's ridiculous. And you've got these teams where it's like Missouri, like you're not even in the Southeast. Like, what are you doing here? And honestly, like I love Texas, and I'm kind of glad that they're in the SEC,
Yeah, Texas,
but I think that
my second favorite team.
regionally, dude, it doesn't make any sense. You
No,
know,
conference is
and like I think Florida State should be in the SEC more so than I think Texas should, you know. And
yeah.
and it's just one of those things and I know they'll never do it, but I think you need to have relegation in there so that those shitty teams, it's like you either drop down or you move up. And honestly, like, I was looking at some of these programs. If you look at the FCS level, it's like North Dakota State or like South Dakota State or whatever those programs are right here. Dude, they always win the fucking FCS national championship. And I'm like, move up, you know?
No, I agree because, like you said, like North Dakota State, and for the most part, a lot of teams do that. Like we saw Sam Houston State, they moved up.
Mm-hmm.
Kennesaw State moved up. Like even Appalachian State moved up. Like North Dakota
Mm-hmm.
State, like okay, come on, dude, like it's time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, you look at this map, you really like people don't realize it. Like we really do need way more. Like we need more FBS teams on that on the like out west.
Oh yeah. I mean, and so this is FCS, but this is FBS, and like yeah, like
Oh, wait,
there's
wait,
nothing up here in
wait,
Montana.
wait, go back to FCS real quick. Yeah. Dude, man, that's great. Wait, go back to FBS. This is FBS. Okay. See
So
that?
where I drew the line, dude, is like right here. Like everything like west of Texas, you're West Coast. Like there's like nothing out there, you know?
It's a shame that we don't have an FBS team in Montana.
Yeah, you just got these Montana states. But I think we could really do it. And like I said, dude, like there's certain things where it's like, we play Chattanooga every other year, and it's
Yeah.
like basically bring them into the conference. And honestly, I was thinking about it and I was like, this is gonna get competition going. And if anything, like it's going to be super competitive to be some of these teams. And I think if you're going to put money into your football program to be better, then like yeah, like there needs to be ways to move up. And if you're not going to, then you need to move down to the bottom.
I
I
agree.
I personally don't like that Vanderbilt kind of sucks all the money out of all these sports other than baseball. And it's like, come on,
Yeah. I mean,
like if
really,
you're
like
not going to be good at football, then move down to the lower level and let's bring up
yeah.
Chattanooga or one team that's actually supposed to be really good is I think was it
Yeah, I'm glad you
Jefferson
said it. Like, 'cause
State?
I didn't think that. Like, if you did run college football like you do, like the Barclays Premier League in soccer, you would eradicate like the Vanderbilt like
Yeah, they're
sucking.
gone,
Yeah,
gone.
like you would eradicate the people that suck forever. Because what would happen is, like you said, you get Vanderbilt. It's like you go, you're number 15, 16 in the SEC forever. It's like
Yep,
okay, hey, now Premier League rules come in. You're going to FCS. We're bringing Chattanooga up to your spot in the SEC,
yep.
and they may do bad or whatever. Like that's fine, but it's like figure it out.
Well, and to be honest, Tennessee was there for a good bit. I mean, we're never the bottom two, but when Pruitt was there that last year, where we went like 4-6 or 4-8,
3-7.
I mean, it was bad. We were down there with like the Vanderbilts and the Mississippi States, and like that could have been us. And like I get that, but it's like, look, we're not
That's
asking like, hey, everybody can get brought down. We're asking you to make money and invest in your program, and that's all. That's all you got to do.
I agree.
And look at Vanderbilt this year. They put a little bit of money in their program and they get shit going. You know, look at look at Mississippi State. They tried doing it with Mike Leach, but he kind of kicked the can.
Well, Mike Leach had it going. He
Oh
just
yeah.
died.
And then I always think of every time I think of Mississippi State, I always think of Dan Mullins.
Dude, I swear to God, that motherfucker had like, I think he like lived life with whatever shirt he was wearing. I think he left the coat hanger in it because like every time I'd see him, he's like this right here.
Oh really?
Go look at a picture of Dan Mullen. It looked like he like left a coat hanger in, dude.
So Mullen. Yeah, look at that. He's got some broad shoulders,
I
right?
told you, dude.
Um, but so everything what I always remembered about him was um he when I forget who it was it Will Muschamp, I think over in Florida, when he was like, "Oh yeah, like like he got fired," and then Dan Mullins was like, "I'm not interested in this job. I'm here to be a dog forever." Mississippi State, I love Mississippi State. Blah 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 blah. And then Florida fires their coach, and he's like, "Bye," and he gets on the fucking plane and is gone. Like that's the thing that I think about him the most.
Did they hire him from Mississippi State or did he get fired? I thought he got fired at Mississippi State.
No, he got Florida hired him from Mississippi State, and it was literally 24 hours after he said he's going to
The
stay.
reason
He
he
was
did
gone.
because the Mississippi State athletic director went to Florida and he brought Mullen over there with him.
Yeah, but I mean, still, like,
Yeah, like
like
the
you wouldn't
loyalty.
go out there and say it. And like, look, Tennessee did the same thing with what's his name? Heupel. Like
We did
they
the
like
same shit.
we got Central Florida's AD, and then we got Heupel.
I really do like Danny White, man. I I like Danny White.
Dude, he's kind of cool. Like what I kind of like about him is it's like he's not the AD who's like, oh, strict and narrow. Like he kind of gets kind of where sports is right now. And I like him. I think he kind of like for example, I always think about like when people were talking about throwing when we threw the flag or the goalpost in the river. The two kinds of people you had were you had the people that were like, where do I donate to pay for us to get a new one? And then you had the people who were like, oh my God, I'm so outraged. Like, I can't believe we did this. This is so trashy, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, our AD is on the side of like, hey, like, we're going to get another one. Randy Boyd is like that too. And so, like, for me, it's kind of like that's a big contender.
Randy Boyd's like we pay for another one.
Yeah, he's like, how much money do you need? And I'm like, that's the attitude I want to have. If you're gonna be the AD, you got to be like on it and in it.
I agree.
So, I should stop sharing my screen there. Yeah, dude. So I would hate to go in and talk about healthcare now, but like, uh, what one question that I've kind of been thinking about for you is because you're in this kind of space as well. When you look at what is the problem in healthcare, what do you what do you think is the problem in healthcare?
Oh well, my issues is I don't like that there are organizations like Ballot Health that can come in and monopolize. Because the issue is now, granted, we've seen it where they do it and they're good at it, and like they're a good monopoly, or maybe they're nice, but like sometimes you get places like Ballot Health who's not, and that's the issue. So I think the issue
So
is
so give me an example of that
like, what do you mean?
with ballot health. Like give me an example of an example of why you think there's an issue.
So I've done this for a little bit now. Um, I've had family members that have been in and out of hospital things with Ballad.
Hmm.
It's kind of become a joke up here in Northeast Tennessee and in East Tennessee. Really, you get out of here. I'm in Knoxville right now, but you get out of Knoxville and you go towards Northeast Tennessee, Johnson City area. People make fun of Ballad, like it's like, God, if you can make it, go to Knoxville, or if you really can make it, go to Vanderbilt. But dude, like Ballad, like has been widely known. Like there's been articles about the guy over at Alan Levine, treating his employees, badly, and like, but this like monopoly thing is like, you know, it's like there's no better alternative than Ballot Health, and I just don't agree with that. Like I miss the days when like we can kind of get. I want to go back to a free market with it.
So are you saying that I guess you're more on the problem is the hospitals? Maybe like the clinics and the providers is the issue in healthcare?
Mm, Well, hold on a second. I did a whole. Give me one. Let me get my phone here. I got like a whole page on this. Okay.
Okay. So and while you're doing that, I guess I'll kind of because I you can just listen and I think you know this. So like I work in the medical device field. And
Yeah.
so we sell a lot of these products and stuff like that to them. In addition to, I've got friends who are in pharmaceuticals and all this other kind of stuff. And then obviously my wife is going to be a physician who's going to work in these clinics. And I was pre-health and everything like that before, so like I'm very in tune into being in the hospital and what's entailed in that, how that business works, everything like that. And so my perspective has always been whoever the payers really are the issue with healthcare, and that we don't incentivize the right things, we stifle innovation, we overregulate, we don't have uniform standards across the world, all these other kind of things. And I always felt like the regulatory part and more so the insurer part is really the root cause of where the issue is in healthcare. What do you, and you're thinking it's more of that hospital and the providers who give?
You said it was the payers. You said
Yeah, so you know, one of the things that I had thought I didn't realize was a thing, or the thing that we weren't doing, um until I heard about, the Inflation Reduction Act. And I'm not one of good one, Joe. But the fact that we weren't negotiating drug prices, to me, I was like, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, like the insurance companies didn't want us to do that because it would eat their margins and all those kind of things. So like for me, it's always like, okay, well that's the issue. The insurers and then to an extent, I say payers because CMS and Medicare, Medicaid, those issues, or they're the issues along with the actual insurers. It's all those people that are not incentivizing what they need to incentivize. So like for me, as I would say, Medicaid is more of the issue than the hospital is the issue. But the hospital is definitely a part of the problem, you know?
I get that. I get that. That's
Because like I 100% get what you're saying. Where it's like, hey, you drop dead, where do you need to go? You need to go to the hospital. Okay, well, ballot health. If you're in this region of the state, ballot health.
yeah.
Tanopa and Knoxville, right? Like it's all there. We
No, to Nova, yeah. Like,
then Vanderbilt Medical Center and healthcare, all that stuff, and Atrium out in Nashville. Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's all there. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
it is. But I mean, the thing is, is like certificate of need, for example, like it's kind of been like an ongoing talk. We've been back and forth with it. I mean, and I got the original idea of it. It's made to control the healthcare costs. Ensure that it's going to be okay distribution, um, and the services and everything, and what I'm saying, like the whole, you know what I mean, like the whole thing was like this regulatory thing, like let's prevent overbuilding of facilities and all that. Um, Now they seem to do a lot more harm than good. That's kind of where I'm at. I think um, we've seen it do a little bit more harm than it was good. I got why we did it. I thought, at the time, okay, whatever. But my thing is, at the end of the day, I want to see competitive, innovative, um, and a more accessible healthcare system. Like I said, I've had family members that have dealt with it, like been in it, you know, and like those are the stories too that get me too, especially with ballot health. Is like when I'm talking to people that have a con story that like relates to like what we're doing. I'm like, walk me through the ER. Like, take me, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just like give me this not like take me through the ER. But you know, I see us, and that's like the one issue for all for all intents and purposes, like issues across like organizations like AFP that like I deal with, or like other organizations stuff. It's easy to be like, you don't really have a lot of people on certain issues just because it's like, it's not a great issue. But repealing certificate of need has been the one issue that like I could literally send out a mass email and I probably get 300 people to show up to something. Like it's a big deal, and it's a big deal up here.
And it's interesting because, you know, I've never, and I actually, I was gonna say, I've never heard this, so I'd be curious to hear you what Steel Man or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But give me an example of why people say we need to have certificate of need.
Like, what do you mean?
Like if I'm arguing with you and you're like, we need to repeal certificate of need, and I say no, we need to keep certificate of need. What would be the
Well,
reason for keeping it?
I mean, just off the bat, I mean, repealing con laws, it would stimulate competition among healthcare
No, no,
providers.
no, no. Why we shouldn't repeal con laws?
Like, oh, you're saying argue the other side of it?
Yes.
Oh God, I don't know how to do that. I don't. I don't really know how I would argue the other side of it. If I was, I mean, if I was
Can't
like
either. That's why I'm asking you.
let's
Um,
say
'Cause that's
let
tough.
me okay, so like let me hypothetically say I work for Ballot Health, okay? Like
Okay.
I'll put my I'm really good friends with the head of Holston Valley Medical Center, Rebecca. She's awesome. If I'm in like if I was like in like a position like hers, if I'm with Ballot Health, and if I was to like Ballot Health, if I was like oh, it's my job, I don't want to lose it, like I'm gonna be for Ballot Health. I guess I would say my argument would be okay. Well, if you have a problem with it, then tell us how we can improve so we can just fix it. I feel like that's about the only way you could go. Would be just kind of like you know about the same thing you hear.
What you would think a consumer would do, right? Like complain about the quality of care, and then
Yeah,
they're gonna want to change it.
it's like just tell us what's wrong. We'll fix it. You don't have to go through all this
Yeah.
trouble. The same thing that like I've heard with like school choice, like from like public school, like teacher unions and things, is like, well, how about we put all this money into fixing public schools? Like we haven't had 30 years to do that. Um, but yeah, I think your only argument would be to just kind of go from it from a consumer standpoint, like, oh, well, just tell us what's wrong, like suggestion box it.
Right. But then it kind of goes to, okay, well, you tell them and they say fuck you, then you say I'm going to go somewhere else, and then you realize there's nowhere else to go.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of where
Yeah.
the issue is,
I mean, the
because
argument's like, okay, where else are you gonna go? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And it's like you said, oh, you'll go down to Knoxville for your healthcare, you
yeah.
know. And and I'm not super big in the whole, hospital stuff. I know a lot of people, especially on the Democratic side, they talk a lot about Medicaid expansion, especially in the South, Georgia, Tennessee, all this other kind of stuff. They really talk about all that kind of stuff. And like for me, I'm like, like I'm just not like I'm not super into that. Like I'm not like I feel like that stuff like that doesn't really matter. There's a lot of these smaller issues like you're talking about where it's like, hey, like in the local county level, there's one hospital. And if you don't like it or there's shit, you ain't going anywhere else.
No,
And
especially with
like we
the
need to find
situations.
ways to expand that and to make there more hospitals or more clinics that people can go to, like the minute clinics, all this other kind of stuff. Um, and at the same time, like in the healthcare space, one of the things that we're trying to do is like, hey, we want it to where you can do a lot of this stuff at your house you know, like the home care stuff. So like, hey, you can put a device on yourself every day or whatever it needs to be instead of having to go to the hospital or we can monitor your blood pressure, we can monitor all this stuff at home. That way we don't have to bring it to wherever. And I think that's where it's going to end up going because it's like, hey, these clinics or whatever, they're not going to move. They're not moving on that position. And it's kind of sad
It is sad.
to um when you think about, con and all this other kind of stuff. Would you say that you've ever met someone who has disagreed with you on that?
If I met, you're asking me if I've met someone that's disagreed with me on my stance on wanting
Yeah.
to work on. Um, Alan Levine, the CEO of Ballad.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What did he say?
I mean, that's his business. He's gonna disagree.
But
Um,
like, what was the reasoning? Did he say?
oh, I don't know. I mean, I've not had to deal with him on
Oh,
that aspect of it. I know people that have. Um, and you know, I'm and like I'm sure he has his like reasoning, and I'm pretty sure his reasoning is, I mean, obviously it's his business. I mean, why would you go against your business that's making you money?
yeah.
That's just malpractice. But I don't think I've ever met like just a regular like
Person that cares about it.
regular human being that's like either cares about it or is going to the hospital for needing medical care. Um, I don't think I've ever met someone yet that's disagreed with it. Like I said, that's the one issue, especially when you get east of Knoxville, and because like I'll give Knoxville one thing, like Tenova Covenant, like they're not bad. Like I don't really hear too many complaints out of it. But like when you get up here to East Tennessee and you get into ballad country, it is like literally like most everybody would agree that ballad sucks.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody knows those stories. Like, this
Yeah.
hospital sucks. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah,
And I think the thing is like, like I think like you can really take, you know, a national perspective on this. I think there's this huge centralization of, and I don't want to go all corporate power person, but like I think there is this huge centralization of the market share into a small few of companies. And I think it's all the way down on the local county level. I think it's all the way on the national level. I mean, I think you really do need someone to go in there and start saying, okay, like we're going to antitrust this because you guys are not working effectively, And I think like doing that on the small local level like could help, and I think it could really get some innovation out of it.
I agree.
Um, But who knows? I mean, and the thing with healthcare is it's such a big issue in terms of like I feel like
That
it's so hard to get anything done on that issue.
well, that and takes time. I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like I remember I had an event. Actually, I did. I had the largest event, like healthcare policy event in March, or no, it's April. April of like last year or this year. No, it was this year, earlier this year. I had 150 people, and I had a media hit that triggered 24 million interactions.
Hmm.
Um, I did it in Jonesboro, Tennessee. I had three lawmakers come in talk about it. I mean, I had executives from Ballad that came. I had, um, you know, regular consumers. Obviously, the lawmakers sitting there talking. I mean, it was a big deal. And we discussed, the con situation and everything. Um, and so it's just even the lawmakers were saying, you're in a situation where, I mean, it takes a while, like you said. It's so in depth, so many things. It takes a minute
Yeah.
to to get through.
Um, see, that's what I hate. Like I think I was talking to I forget who I was talking to, but I was like the three issues that I care the most about are I think it was like healthcare, education, and then it might have been the economy. And I was like, those are the three things I care the most about because they're so intertwined. Right? No, I take it back. It wasn't healthcare. Healthcare was right there on the cusp. They were a fourth. But I
Yeah.
said the three biggest issues are China, the economy, and education in the United States. And I said if all the three of those are connected and you can create policy around those, you'll fix a lot of these other issues.
So there is, and we're actually working on this now, coming up in this upcoming session in Tennessee. Um, we have the Rains Act, which kind of intertwines all like kind of all three of those things. It's the
Hmm.
act where it's like it like prevents like bureaucrats from like putting like regulations. You know what I'm saying?
Not really. So what do you mean? What do you mean they're going to put regulations? Well, they can't.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Give me like 2 seconds.
Because um, I just I don't know.
Hold on a second. So okay. So sorry, I had to. I'm pulling up like pulled up on the computer. I'm pulling up my because we wrote this up, right? So the Rains Act, if you don't know what it is, it's regulations from the executive in need of scrutiny act. It's a proposed piece of legislation that aims to increase legislative oversight of significant regulatory actions taken by state agencies. The act is designed to ensure that elected representatives, rather than unelected bureaucrats, have the final say on regulations that could have substantial economic impacts or affect the public in meaningful ways, if that makes sense.
So because I guess I'm on you're on I guess more of the political action involvement space, and
Well, yeah.
I like to think of myself more on the elected official space.
So this is so I can go both ways because like I have to deal with the elected officials on this.
Okay.
So go ahead and go. But like I can do both.
So so I feel like and when I think about like which branch I'm super interested in, honestly, dude, I don't I wouldn't like if I was like, oh, would you be president? I'd be like, yeah, I guess that'd be kind of fun to do like once when say you're kind of done with politics or whatever. But I was like, honestly, I feel like being in the Senate or something like that would be super interesting and super fun. Because like you get to hear these kind of things, right? And I feel like the biggest issue with that is like, okay, you don't want the executive super involved in the writing of or the nailing down the laws and all this other kind of stuff and getting excessively involved in regulation. So then it's like, okay, so then the idea is that you would give that power what to the legislature to vote on all these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So now on the state of Tennessee, it might be different because we're a super majority state. But you
Sure.
go in and you look at, say, on the federal state, or maybe in I'm trying to think of a good one. Maybe not necessarily North Carolina, but like maybe you're kind of going to some of those Democratic states
Sure.
where you're 50-50, maybe like Arizona or whatever it is, or Nevada. Um, if you go there, I feel like, and you say, hey, like we want to do these kind of things, I feel like you're gonna get stonewalled. And it's like no one's gonna want to take votes on regulations and things like that,
Yeah, I'd
especially on
agree.
the national level. Like, hey, do you want to vote on this regulation and this blah blah blah? And I feel like people are like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
They're like, you deal with that. We don't need to deal with that kind of shit. Because if they did, then it's kind of like single issue spending bills, right? And it's like, hey, that's a really great idea. But it's like the fact that you're having to go in and like do bill by line by line, it makes it pretty difficult to actually kind of get anything meaningfully done.
Yeah.
And so I guess my counter to what you're saying is it'd be something like that, where it's like it just becomes a huge burden on the legislative branch to do it, to where it almost kind of further paralyzes it from doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. But I mean, you can look at it completely different. You may say, hey, like Andrew, you're full of shit. Like, you know, here in Tennessee, where this bill might go in, we can get everything done and it's not going to be a burden because we don't really have to stop and negotiate and really kind of do all that kind of stuff. We can actually get what we want done and it goes through way quicker, and that's probably true. What do you think?
Like from what aspect of it? Sorry, I feel like we like do a lot where
I
it's like
know, I guess for me is like, what do you think about me saying that it's almost kind of a burden to the legislature to have to do all these regulations
I mean,
for them to decide on all these regulations?
so my thing is just it's like I don't know, like who do you want to make the call on it? I
Well,
guess.
that's what the executive's there for, right? I mean, they're there to execute, the laws. And if we say this isn't like here's the law, then
Yeah, but
it's up to them to execute.
let's say you get some like crappy regulations in there. It's like
But here's the thing: is that okay? You know, that's where it goes on to I
this is
think people
really
or
good.
parties to then say, is that really the guy we want in there to do the job? Like it's almost kind of like for example, one of the other issues I have with moving it to the legislature is everyone's like, oh, like for example, could be a decent example. Georgia's a perfect example. It's like in Georgia, Democrats can win a good chunk of seats on the presidential, but they have trouble winning down ballot races, and they are nowhere close to having a majority. Even though you'd think that they would. North Carolina, same thing. And my issue is that because the system is almost kind of rigged into gerrymandering and those kind of things, it
Yeah.
makes it really hard for me to say, okay, let's give the legislature more power and authority because, you know, like they don't have their shit together and they're rigging it. So then it's like there's no way for political discourse to actually happen and to work. So I kind of always have issues with just throwing any extra authority on the legislature because it's already a more corrupt institution than say the electoral college and popular vote. But that's just me.
I like it.
Because it's like everybody gerrymanders, and it's like
Oh
okay,
my
one
god.
one day it's yours, one day it's the other person, and it's like you gotta get rid of all that crap before you can start being like, hey, these people are representative of the people to go in and um make these kind of votes. And nobody fuck it is gonna read these regulations. they're gonna get a check from some lobbyist and be like, okay,
Real. Real.
so the guy who's taking him out to dinner that night at the steakhouse is gonna be like, hey, by the way, you
The
think you can
chop
help me out
house.
on that?
This local sizzler, man. We're about to get crunk. God, dude, DC is gonna be crazy this week. I'm tired.
Oh, dude, let me tell you about that. I
There we
stayed at
go.
Trump's hotel.
Oh, you told me about that. Hey, did you all get to the White House?
We did, dude. My trip, this was the worst time I've ever visited DC.
I believe
And
it.
we went to the White House and we stayed at Trump's hotel. Trump's hotel, honestly, it was nice. It's a little overrated. Um, the rooms were nice. The bathroom was nice, everything like that. But the service wasn't like super great. Um,
Yeah.
all the people we talked to, I mean, they're just kind of like they just seemed like irritated that we were there, weren't really helping us and stuff like that to like get our luggage up the stairs.
Yeah.
Um, and like we were sitting there at the guest line in front of this lady for like 10 minutes before she actually was like, oh hey, the bellhop actually had to let her know that we're standing in front of her so we can get checked in. And so
Yeah.
it's just stuff like that where it's like, yeah. And then the White House, like, that was so overrated. They take you through the
Look,
fucking basement, take you upstairs to hit the main rooms, and you're out the door.
it's
And
it's
I'm like, what the fuck? This is
two
nothing.
things. Two things. It's the Biden admin with White House has sucked. I do highly recommend going through and listen, when I tell you it's like I'm not saying that it's a Democrat thing like
Oh, it could be.
Republicans
It
like
100% could be.
it could be, but like even like Republicans during like Bush years didn't do it. Like Trump's like admin does a really cool thing. Like you can go bowl in there. Like I knew a guy with Trump's thing. We got in and we could bowl.
Really?
Yeah, you can bring like your own beer and stuff. Like you get let me okay. I'll tell you what. Let me take. Let me get like we'll put a group together. You bring Abby. Like we'll go up. And I'll like especially once we get Trump in office here, like we'll plan a trip next year for DC, and
Okay. Yeah. No, no. I mean, if
have a good
like I
time.
said, like
Let
we were literally
me
talking
show you
about it
all a
when we
good
got out,
time.
and we're like, this was a fucking dump.
Let me show you all a good time. That's what we'll do. Yeah, it is, and it can be depending on where you go through. I'm sorry, it wasn't a great experience. I'll be honest with you, I'm in DC so much that I hate it. Just like just Hollywood.
We like visiting and we like where everything is and stuff. Like, yeah, I've never had to go and work there.
It's just it's Hollywood for ugly people.
Is it
Like
really?
that's what I call it.
See, like I think it'd be fun, and I really thought it'd be super enjoyable to be there and to work there and stuff. But yeah, dude, it
Yeah.
gets old. That's
Well, I
what
mean,
I've always heard is it gets old real quick.
dude, I worked up there in Navy Yard, man, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, working in DC's tragic, man. I'll be there 4 days, so I'll have my fill of it. But I'll be honest, man, dude, it's give and take with whatever it is. I mean, did y'all stay at Trump's hotel? So were y'all in DC or were y'all in like Virginia?
Yeah, we were in DC too. We're 2 blocks off from the mall.
Holy crap, man! That
Yeah, dude, we were literally like
you're like touching the
10
dang.
minute 10 minute walk to the White House.
You're like touching the top of the Capitol. But okay.
Yeah.
Um, did y'all go back into the Capitol to? I think you've done it
Yep.
before.
So we did go back to the Capitol. We didn't have a tour like set up or anything like that. We requested one, but Ossoff,
Dude,
didn't really help us out. He helped us get into the
no,
White House, so we were like, okay, that's cool. You're cool, dude. I think I did put like, hey, I am a fellow Democrat. Help me out here. So I always thought that was funny that I got in. But no, but we got in there and we tried doing something on with Ossoff, but we couldn't go in and do anything until Saturday. And I guess they don't work on Saturdays. But we had done a tour before and we thought it was really cool.
and you also went last week. So like December, I do recommend trying to go before December's because so Thursdays fly out. Like they're
Yeah.
flying home. Like Thursday they fly home. Like I'm I actually had to scramble to get all my meetings set with our Congress members here and our senators here because like they're all going home. I wish I was going home on Thursday, but
Yeah.
but I'm going home on Saturday.
On those free jets, right?
Huh?
On the free jets, right?
On the free planes, man. But it's it's fun. Um, our HQ is really cool. Like so, our HQ is in Arlington, and the hotel I'm in, it's like connected, so I don't have to stand out in the cold air. I can just like walk across a bridgeway, and it's like,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, dude. But dude, okay, so the HU's cool. The only thing I don't like about it is like it's like one of those like glass buildings where like every office is like glass see through.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, I
like
hate
if I'm
that.
like sitting in like my chair trying to like watch like Tennessee like throw a Hail Mary, it's like but I guess
So,
it's playing Galaga.
who who
Sort
who,
of
who are you gonna talk to
where we're at.
at the Capitol? All the meetings and stuff.
So I have so me and my supervisor we always try to go by a couple of the Congress members. He goes by Burchett's office. I go with him for Burchett because I love Burchett's staff, dude. They're so
So, do you
nice.
just meet with the staff, or do you meet with him?
Oh, we meet with him and the staff.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
we do that with all the members if we can. But the thing is, like, so me and my supervisor, David, the one that you met when you came
Yep,
to our
yep.
office. So me and David are the most like in touch, like with like the actual members. So like, um, so our like state chapter usually comes to me and David when it's like, hey, can you get us a meeting with this person? Because like I could text Congresswoman Harshbarger or Burchett or Ogles in Nashville. Like I could either text them or their chief of staffs, and I'm in front of them in like 2 seconds if I want to be. So for me, like with like with Burchett, it's a little bit more formal because like Burchett's he's like laid back, but he likes to make it like a big thing, you know.
Hmm.
Um, like Diana's probably gonna be like, "Hey, come in here and like give me a hug. Like here's a strawberry candy and like how you doing kind of thing."
Yeah.
Because each person's different. But I have a meeting with
Well, but you know why Tim Burchett's that way, right?
why
I would say it's honestly because he did a lot of the local stuff to where when he goes up into like the national stuff, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, like
Tim
he's
Burchett.
he's more seasoned.
Tim Burchett is still my pick for a representative that we will send to begin relations with the aliens.
Really?
He's still my pick for who we should get to represent us in.
Well, dude, here's how I can tell you that's not happening is I think we've already met with the aliens, and I don't think Tim Burchett was on the list.
Dang it, dude. God, I got a video. I gotta send you
He's
from
weird, dude. He's a little goofy. Like I'm on his mailing list now,
dude. Tim
and
Burchett
so
is
he'll
great.
post like some weird shit, and I'm just kind of like I'm like, what are you doing? Like, dude, you're
The,
like
I
in it.
love. I like. Let me. I'm gonna preface. I love Congressman Burchett. Like I love
Oh,
Tim.
I like him. He's just a
But
little out there.
Tim Burchett, he is my excuse to discuss aliens when I go to DC.
Yeah.
Like when I go into his office, I know I'm gonna get into a lit alien discussion. Like, is it real? Are UFOs a thing?
Hold
Um,
on. Let me pull up his most recent picture. Damn it. Come on. I
I'd be
gotta get
so
the.
interested, dude. I hope I get the early Christmas present. And he tells me that he thinks Bigfoot's real. Like, give me an early Christmas present and tell me that.
Let me see. Okay, here it is. Here's the picture of him.
I love Tim Burchett. Damn it, I love Tim
Look at
Burchett.
that. Look at that handsome man.
What
Oh,
is that? You sharing? You
yeah.
shooting?
I should. There you go.
There we go.
Look at that handsome man. Like what is this?
Hey, can you forward that to me?
Yeah.
Can you please forward that to me? Jay Wallen or no, Joshua Wallen 12 at Gmail. Um, that's hilarious,
Dude, I've got more of them.
That's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. No, I'm about to crop that out. Like I'm about to that dude. That's going on like my dude. Harshbargers are like so formal, and it's funny because like I know who makes them. So like I'm sitting there and I'm like texting him. I'm like, man, can we not like make this like fun? Like give me like gliding through the snow.
Look at this. Look at this. He's selling fucking mugs and shit.
Yes, yes. Dude,
Dude,
that's
and then he's also doing this stuff. Like ride the red wave and like all this other kind of stuff. Like the man does not stop.
he's the greatest. So now, okay, I do gotta ask because like I feel like a jerk for not knowing this. But how do you? And I'm not trying to get off topic. I want to come back to this. How do you pronounce your last name, Andrew?
It's 10 Ike. So
Oh,
think 10 like the letter 10
yeah,
and then Ike
it's
like
all
Ike
like,
Eisenhower.
but like Tin Ike is like it's like the last name
Two
together. Like,
words. Two words.
really? Is it like a? Is it?
It's Dutch.
It's Dutch? Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, so it's dude, and like you wouldn't be the first one, dude. Like I remember like
I
Tinnick,
don't mean that.
like
Tinnick.
all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, ugh, come on, fuck you, man, get it right. So I'm used to it, dude. And like, sometimes, dude, when we go eat dinner, I'm just like Andrew Smith. You
What's like
know,
the funniest you've heard?
Eek, 10 Eek.
I feel like Tiniak would be.
Yeah, 10 Eek is another one.
I feel like that would definitely come up.
Dude, it's funny. A guy I went to school with at Tech. His last name is Stephen Ike, and it's pronounced like ECK, I think, or something like that, or EICK. And so I'm like, he's like, and apparently his is German. And I'm like, dude, you're like the closest one to me. And he's like, oh yeah, I know how to say your name. 10, and then basically my last name. And I was like, dude, that's like wild. Watch us be like long lost cousins or something like that from the old world. But yeah, dude, Burchett's interesting. He's someone I always kind of thought was kind of like real. I never thought he would be able to. I thought he pretty much is going to have that seat until he doesn't want it anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh God, you couldn't beat him if you tried right now.
No, I don't think anybody could. Like honestly, I don't think he's going to lose more than 60% of
think
the vote.
I know state, and I love him to death. Like I have a good like our supervisor has a great relationship with him, and I know him pretty well. But I know Zachary. I know Jason Zachary. Uh, I think he wants county mayor. I think he's waiting on I think he would make a
Your guy.
run. What?
He's waiting on your guy to leave, right?
So Glenn Jacobs would have to leave.
Yeah, Glenn Jacobs.
But I think
What's it, Kane? Right? Isn't that
Kane,
what is? Yeah.
WWE superstar Kane. I think he'll be a great governor, man. God, I hope he gets it.
I think he's got a shot. Like I think he's pretty good.
Let me ask
Um,
Knox. Do Knox County? I don't know about the city, but like the county, for the sake of the county, has some of the best elected officials I've ever met in my life. Like Kane, like or Glenn Jacobs, phenomenal man. Like just down to earth. Like talks to everybody, super nice. Even Burchett, like is the guy like you could about post something on Twitter or on Facebook, like responding to something he puts or like, and he'll respond to you. Like he comes back and like will respond to you, and that just that's just crazy to me. Like I know a lot of members that try to avoid as much as they can
well, I
those.
think also with uh Knox County is I'm trying to pull up the map.
Hold on one second.
Um,
Keep going, bro.
but there what is it? Like the city's not super big. Let me see. Yeah, I think this is it. So the city's not super big, and yeah, I think this is right. Let me share it. And so like I think this is Knoxville, city of Knoxville. And so it's like all the places like people want to live like along the lake and whatnot. I mean, all that is oh, that's the parks. But all of that is like, that's prime area to live in.
No, for
Um
sure.
let me see. Okay. Yeah, so this might be it. Oh shit, you fuckhead. Um let's see if we can do this. So as you can kind of see here, like that's Knoxville. Like that's not super big. And then you've got Farragut over here. But a lot of this over here, like we're even in the yellow, like all that is like rural. Like Knoxville is not super big, you know? And so like people like some of the places Abby and I have talked about um living in is a lot of this like green and yellow area. And if you want to live on the lake and do all that kind of stuff, it's really 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 rural and great places to live, and good schools and everything like that around. So like you know I can see why Knox County is bigger as far as influence than the city. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. um what would you say that guy's name was
Which
that
one?
you're really into?
From are you talking about from Knox County?
Yeah, is it Jason?
Jason Zachary, Representative
I feel like I've
Zachary.
heard of him. I feel like I've heard of this guy. So what's going on with him?
Um, I mean, he's just state rep right now. I think he would go for county mayor if Jacobs um if if Jacobs were to go the other way. If he goes to governor, I think he'd run for that. I think he would run for Congress if Jacobs was to not leave. Though I feel like it's kind of just like which one opens up.
Yeah. Do you think why do you here's a question because you went to ETSU. Why do you think a lot of people um who I guess went to school, undergrad stuff like that. I feel like a lot of them didn't go to the University of Tennessee.
We did with the state reps.
State reps, county people, like I think Tim Burchett did, but like a lot of other people that I think about didn't go to uh didn't go to undergrad at UT.
They
Yeah, so
might
he did.
they might not have.
But like,
Um,
why is that? Why is that? You feel like they would though, right?
I feel like that would be like the norm.
Like that guy just came from was it from Middle Tennessee State?
Yes, he did. Um, if you don't mind, is it cool if we kind of wrap up here in a few?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Um, not to rush you. I'm trying to get my stuff ready for tomorrow and get packed.
No, you're good.
Um,
So go ahead.
yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say one thing to kind of like leave you with is what do you think is the future of the Knox County Party?
In like across the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess like where do you think the county's gonna go?
I mean, if Zachary goes in, it'll be about the same.
But I mean even RD split.
RD split. That's I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't answer that.
Because the city of Knoxville is Democratic,
I know that. Yes.
but the county is still Republican. So I didn't know what you thought about where they're gonna go with everything.
I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. I feel like that's a great discussion to bring back.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Think about it while you're up there, and let me know what those congressmen say.
I actually will. I will definitely actually think about that.
Because I've always been curious about if I do end up coming back to Knoxville, are you a D or are you an R? And
Yeah.
I'm kind of like straddling in the middle, so I'm like I can kind of go either way, but I'm like, some people like that's like a death knell.
Yeah.
So okay, we'll leave it here.
That sounds great. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.